to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings. But now I shine with your reflection on me. I'm getting back up on my feet. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. Yes, I'm the winner, yeah. 'Cause I'm the winner, yes. Am I awake or am I dreaming? So far gone, I won't look back. And when I move, there ain't no stopping me. You're pushing me up to the top. I saw the clouds looking angry, but then the sky reached my mind. And when I space out, I see the possibilities unfolding the way that I want. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You cut me loose. You make me win in every way. You show me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You show me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. Yes, I'm the winner, yeah. 'Cause I'm the winner, yes. 'Cause I'm the winner, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yes, I'm the winner, yeah.
Yes, we are winning today. Welcome to our podcast day. Today we are recording live our podcast, which always gets done live here. So if you want to get reminders about the lives, then send us a DM and we'll make sure we hook you up with that. But we have an amazing guest installed for you today, and this live podcast day normally happens on the third Thursday of the month, but we were right in the middle of launch. Oh, look, Deanne's here. We love you too, baby. So we were right in the middle of launch and lots of other things were going on and crazy stuff in our world. So we've delayed the podcast batching day, but today we have a guru, really. He has been part of my bigger journey of where I've come from. But for those who don't want to miss any of our live events, make sure you go here because you can subscribe to our channel, like our calendar on your Google Calendar, and it'll always show you what's happening, especially all of our live events that we run. So just subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. Pop it into your Google Calendar. If you're a sparkly, you're probably already subscribed. So if you're out on the live stream, let us know. You let us know that you're there, and I'm excited to introduce you to our guest today. So our guest today on the podcast, he is a lead coach, a mentor, a facilitator for the International Coaching Institute, or TCI. So I studied there. I am a pro coach. It was a 3 years of like learning all about me and then learning how to help others and the frameworks and the strategies around messing around inside people's grey matter. And he's been an inspiration to myself and a great help along my journey to then go on and, transform the lives of 33 million people, which is the mission of the Sparkle World. Now, has been a professional speaker for over 10 years. He speaks to groups of 50 to 300 and people, but nearly every week he's talking the talk, walking the walk on mindset, relationships, life, values. He's a Christian, a father, a husband. And he lives here, locally in Australia, on the Sunshine Coast. Help me, everybody. Welcome in with sparkles in the comments and the chat, Matt LAVARS. Hey, Matt. How are you?
It was a very good, thank you. It's quite a good introduction. I feel a lot of pressure.
Oh, no pressure here. We just roll with it. Like, imperfect action. That's the thing, right? Just a conversation. You're amazing, though, just have to say.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Before we get into today's topic, though, like I gave a little bit of, inspiration or a bit of an intro about you. Sorry, not inspiration. You're an inspiration to where I've come from. But I remember when I first met you, I was going through some pretty hard times. It was when we were allowed to be in physical rooms together. And it wasn't long after that I was inspired to join TCI. But I'd love you to share with our audience, your journey, how you've kind of come to where you are now, and so that people can get to know you a little bit.
Thank you. Well, I used to be a personal trainer, and that was all about helping people, which I've always really loved. But I really just found like there was more to helping people that I really needed to learn about and wanted to learn about for myself. If I go back further than that, in my childhood, I was really rebellious as a kid. So, hey Joyce, I took too many drugs and wasted a lot of time and hung around with the wrong people and got in lots of trouble and really wasn't moving in the right direction. And so I was always looking for something to be able to, I guess, like create a life that I was proud of, that was going to be worth telling someone about, I guess, and I wanted to eventually be able to do what I'm doing right now, which is to have a family and to be able to be proud of the family that I'm creating. And so I found coaching about just over 10 years ago, and it's been profound to be able to learn how to communicate, to learn how to have a great relationship with someone, to learn how to feel my feelings has been profound. Because I think, like a lot of people, we suppress all of our emotions. And the other part of it is it's given me a career. I love coaching people. I had a coaching session with someone this morning, and it was a joy. I really don't find it it's not like work. And it's also taught me how to be a communicator. So I love running workshops and speaking to people, and that's really wonderful. And then recently, our faith has become a lot more important as well. So we're born again Christians. We've got a little church community up here that we go to, which is amazing. And so right now, the most important thing to me is just looking after the family. I got a 1.5-year-old boy, and my wife is 12 weeks pregnant with a girl.
Oh,
which is
wow.
exciting.
Congratulations. That's so exciting.
Yeah, thank you. She's asleep right now in the
Is
other
she?
room. She's resting. So yeah.
She's amazing, and she's a stunner too. She's absolutely gorgeous. Wow, congratulations. One on the way, and watching you sort of move from Melbourne up to the Sunshine Coast, I think that's great. I love how you said, you love to help people feel their feelings. And I know as a man, right, that can be, there's pressures over men actually feeling their feelings. Did that come up much for you when you were sort of discovering all of this coaching stuff?
Yeah, for sure. I think that as a guy, you're always going to have that social stigma that as a man, you've got to be tough and get on with it. And I think that there's an element of that that is true, which is as a guy, you got to be strong. You don't want to be weak. The world it doesn't need. There was a quote that I read the other day and it said something like, if you don't like what strong men do, watch what weak men will do in the world. Which means, you've got to stand for something. You've got to stand for what's right. You've got to care for people. You've got to do the right thing in the world, and that requires strength. But then the other side of it is to be open and be vulnerable, and to learn how to be soft and learn how to be caring. And yeah, initially I had to rewrite all the stories in my mind of what a man actually was, and learn how to become someone who can have strength, but also have vulnerability.
Yeah.
And for example, that's so important for being a father. I'm always soft with my son. I never bring in intensity to him because it would freak him out.
Mm.
So it's a beautiful thing to be able to tap into all of you instead of just one version. Like who I am in the gym or something like that is completely different.
Yeah. And I know you and your wife, you're both very, very self-aware, very conscious. All the coaching stuff kind of runs through your veins. We're very lucky as well. My husband is also very heart-centered and understands, and he totally allows emotion out. And he was born to be a father. He is the nurturer of the two of us.
That's
I'm
so
more of the entrepreneurial, he's the nurturer. But also, I think that it's an amazing journey from, and I resonate with you too. I was a bad girl when I was younger, did all the things. And then, I think it was through finding my husband that pulled me out of a hole. If I hadn't met him, I always think, what hole would I have been in? And then the relationship between you and your wife has been a beautiful journey to watch as well, because, we've known each other for a long time. So to see and hear your story what you were doing, and now you're a born again Christian, so you're stepping into that side of your own spirituality too, and being proud of it. Right? That's it. Some people don't want to say certain things because they don't want to be judged, but I know you're a big believer in just no judgment, or if people judge, it's their fault. It's judgments on themselves. Now, our topic today is all about procrastination. I was really excited when I saw this topic come in for today, because seriously, a lot of the I've helped with a lot of online conferences, and procrastination or imposter syndrome are the two rooms that get full of people, because it's that thing that, when people procrastinate, or, perfectionism, all of those sort of things come into play. I know there are many forms of procrastination. So I'd love you to share with us, what are the different types and forms of procrastination?
Yeah, awesome. So what I was thinking is because it's people can watch the recording, we'll go quite deep, and then people can, watch it again, because I know that people are watching it live, but they can always go back and watch the recording. So I'm going to approach it in a different way than what most people would approach, because the simplicity of procrastination is an avoidance of fear. But I think we all know that. So I don't think that's a revelation, is that when we are procrastinating, it's because we are afraid of something. Now, that fear is ultimately that we are afraid that we can't handle what's going to happen, that maybe we're going to get judged and we can't handle it. We're going to make a mistake and we can't handle it. Sometimes it's that we will be successful and we can't handle it. That someone else isn't going to like what we're doing and that we can't handle that. And so that's the fear and what we're avoiding when we procrastinate. And there's all different ways you can procrastinate. You can procrastinate based on, you can take lots of action on stuff that doesn't matter as a way to procrastinate. You can do nothing, of course. You can waste time on social media and stuff like that, which we probably all do a little bit too much of these days. You can just overthink everything. You can plan forever. There's all these different ways. You could talk way too much about something instead of doing it. But what's the solution? The simple solution is to do what Susan Jeffers said in her book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, and to break it down into small and manageable chunks and take action. But we'll go a little bit deeper. I think that the profound shift in procrastination is actually found through what's called a functional attachment. And I imagine you have this with your husband. So attachment theory is a really interesting thing to look at. Essentially, what it says is that when you have a secure attachment with at least one other person, it's like having a secure foundation in your life that acts as a home base. And the more secure that is, the more likely you are to leave home base and take risks. Because you know that when you take a risk, you can come back to home base and everything's okay. That home base is still there. It's supportive of you. It encourages you. It says, yep, you fell over and got muddy, but it's all right. Let's clean you up and let's have some dinner and hang out and let's do it again tomorrow. And in a world where a lot of people are striving for independence, which there are elements of that are good, but if we become overly independent and we don't focus on quality of relationship, procrastination increases significantly because we feel alone. And when we feel alone, the judgment of random people that we don't even know becomes more impactful. And then we overly worry and we go, well, I'm not going to tell social media that I've started a new business because they might judge me. And if you think about that logically, you think, well, you don't even know who they are. Who cares if they judge you? But it's weighty. That judgment is like, yes, but I don't think I can handle it. But if you, for example, if you use you and your husband again, it's like he's really nurturing. So I just imagine he's super supportive of you to be doing what you're doing. If you go out and take more risks, but then you come home and your husband's like, it's all right, darling. It's all good. Let me make you something to eat. That's what gives you the base that you need. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have to be in a relationship. It could be in a friendship. But we need to have it's called a secure base, which just means I feel at home with at least one other person that I know has got my back no matter how many risks that I take, no matter how many mistakes that I make. And that lowers procrastination significantly. Yes. And I find what a lot of people do when they procrastinate is they've got a relationship or a family situation they don't like. They've removed themselves from it. They've started something new that no one understands. They feel alienated and like they don't have a tribe. These people don't understand them. They're going out trying to take action, but they don't have the support, so they procrastinate. Yes. And that's the best example that I've seen of why people procrastinate. And I think the most underlooked solution to it is actually supportive relationships.
Yeah. I love that home base, that analogy that you made about, because there is that safety, right? And I can tell you from the very beginning, as the first woman in our family to actually go out and like work, yet let alone start a business, I had a lot of pressure. My mum used to say to me all the time, stop working so hard, look after your husband, because she puts his socks on every morning. My husband and I went through therapy in the early days of business because it was hard, right? He didn't understand all the crazy as it does to have the business. But then if you don't have that, this is where, like, we have a community that hangs out in the VOZ, right? We call it the virtual office space. It's an open Zoom room. It's open all the time. People come and go. It's full of entrepreneurs, heart-centered entrepreneurs. That is their base, right? That they can come to, all our clients, whenever they're feeling lonely and procrastinating, they can come in and go, look, I've been trying to choose this graphic for 4 hours. It's like, here, let me pick it for you, baby. We pick it and then they can move on. So I think that's super important for the other people out there listening. Like, ask yourself, do you have a home base? Who is that home base? And if not, intentionally go out and seek one. I know inside of the Coaching Institute, for example, that's home base for a lot of people too, right? Because you guys don't just teach coaching, you teach business as well, which is very different to a lot of other kind of, degree or coaching certifications out there, because the business part's the hardest part, right? And without that support. So what do you think, if people are procrastinating, what do you think would be the main reason why this would happen, other than, not having the support base? Say they've got it and they're like, okay, I've identified it, but I still feel like I'm procrastinating.
I think there's two other things. There's one to add on to the support. Some people have support, but they don't use it. So a lot of people don't ask for help fast enough. And like your example was great. you're building a business and you have to choose a graphic. Um, and in business, there are a million examples of that. You've got to choose a graphic, and then once you've chosen the graphic, you've got to choose the size of the graphic, right? And then so on and so on and so on. It goes forever. And so one of the keys to business success is making decisions fast. And part of that is taking risks. So part of it is modeling others, which is really important. So don't just go out Wild West and do it on your own because, like, you might be bad. It might be crappy. Like, model other people, learn from others. For example, it's like you want to start a podcast. Well, watch this one and look at the graphics that Sally's used and be like, well, it looks awesome. We could replicate that. So it's modeling people, but it's also then learning to take risks and forcing yourself to make decisions quickly. And then part of it is when you're completely stuck, you've got to have a decision-making strategy that forces you to ask for help. So I always say, give yourself 24 hours. That's the most you should ever take in not knowing the answer to something. And that's even a long amount of time in the business world of getting stuff done. I like the example that you use, 4 hours. Even that's a long period of time, right?
It's so long. Yeah.
It's too long. But if you think about it, like, I know people that have been procrastinating on an idea for months. They've been trying to make a decision on something for months. I know people that have been thinking about, like, even just beginning coaching, and they thought about it for 7 years before they made the decision. And then they started and they had to, like, grieve the last 7 years because they had to face that they could have gone faster.
Yeah.
And so when you are stuck, 24 hours, ask for help. That would be one of the things that's important to learn. And I think a lot of people grew up in situations where it wasn't encouraged to ask for help. There was a real, like, it was that way in a lot of schools. It's just like, you know what, work it out. Don't burden me. You're supposed to be perfect. I know, like, a lot of old school teachers find that challenging. A lot of nurses find that challenging. There's certain cultures that's very much like just you need to know the answer. So that makes it harder for people to reach out for help. And then I think the other one is that really helps is you have to learn how to make decisions. So it's not just about making them quickly. It's learning how to actually make a good one. And I think that's a whole process that a lot of people are unaware of. So in a very, very basic sense, you can make a decision based on fact or emotion. And as you would know, Sally, the most important one would be fact and emotion. So it's like, let's take care of how you feel, but you can't just use your emotions. You can't just say, I like red, in your business. You have to then use fact and, like, do some research and open up your manual and ask your mentor and be like, what's red? And they'll be like, well, it's a power color. So does that match your branding? And does that match what you're going to do? And it might be like, well, actually, no, you should use purple. For example, like, you've got a lot of purple, right? And it's like, that's a little bit more, it's a little bit more magical. It's a little bit more sparkly. And so there's emotion and then there's logic. And so learning how to make decisions quickly, I think that's the other thing that gets us out of procrastination. Because when people procrastinate, I think a lot of the time they just spend time in their belly. It's just like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, it feels bad. Oh, I'm not sure. Avoid, avoid, avoid. It's just that on repeat. And sometimes we need to get out of that and just be like, okay, so there actually are 5 decisions. Let's do a bit of research. Let's look at it. And if someone says, but I'm blocked, I don't know what to do, reach out. It's just, and then get the information, then have another go. So I think it's knowing options there as well that really, really helps.
Yeah. Look, you just dropped some amazing gems right there. Like, the people take too long to ask for help, right? And they sit in it for so long. Like, I love a good Netflix day when I'm like just, having one of those days. But if a Netflix day turns into 3 and 5 days, it's no longer serving anyone.
The Netflix week.
A week, yeah, then turns into a month. The next thing, 3 months is gone and you're kicking yourself because you didn't take action. And the other thing is fast. The quicker you make decisions, the quicker you learn, the more mistakes you may make. That's okay. It's not that you're failing forward. You're learning and growing. Every mistake is really just an opportunity to learn. And the more you procrastinate, I was talking to some people today. I was running a session for Shalene Johnson, helping people put courses together today. And some people, 2-3 years, they've been trying to finish this course. And I'm like, well, why don't you just sell it now and then finish it? And, they're like, oh, wow, I didn't think of that. But they hadn't reached out for help. They've just been sitting in it for so long. So anyone out there listening, is there something that you have been procrastinating on? Think about it. Is there something that and it's there, it's in your brain, that there's something you should be doing, and it usually makes you feel uncomfortable, isn't it? It's when people are in procrastination, it's that unknown. Like you said, the fear of judgment. What will other people think? Or maybe I'll get successful. Maybe it'll fail. But without stepping through it and feel the feels, do it anyway. Sarah, she's one of our clients. She's like, yeah, of course. Like, we've literally written the whole thing, baby. Let's launch it.
Yeah.
So what other strategies would you say to help people to overcome? Because they've realized that they're procrastinating. They've found their home base. They're and I love what you said there, model others. If somebody's doing what you want to do, want to achieve, the sparkles or the Matt with the great, presenting voice and all the things, model it. I always say, take my shit, add your own sparkle, right? Success. If success, and you find that successful person and model their recipe, and eventually you'll mush it together and it'll become your recipe.
For sure.
Yeah. So what would you say to people who are, stuck now and they're like, okay, I've got this? What would you recommend? Like, if you were to say a practical step for them to overcome that they could write down today, put it in their back pocket when they feel stuck?
Well, like, in the end, you have to take action. There's nothing you can do about that. You have to force yourself to do it. And so most people that's it. They're just avoiding pressing go on the landing page, or avoiding posting the post, or posting the video, or just saying, all right, the course is done. The course is done. Now, it's important to understand that you can always make it better forever.
Yes.
But that's a never-ending thing. So, for example, this podcast is great. I reckon we're doing well. But if you and I watch this back, we could take notes, and we could be like, oh, you know what? I forgot about this. And you'll be like, yeah, and I forgot about this. And then if we recorded it again, we'd add more on. But then if we watched it back again, we'd do the same thing. We'd be like, oh, you know what? And I remembered B and D and E. And it's never ending. And so improvement, like, yeah, you could make it better. But if we did that, then this wouldn't go live. And then the people that are watching right now don't get the benefit from it.
Yeah.
So at some point, I think you just have to face that you just have to launch. I really love Seth Godin.
Yes.
Because he Seth, so he's a great marketer, and he's made a commitment to write a blog every day to force himself. He's no different than us, to force himself to hit send. And so, like with the course, record the videos. I always like to use benchmarks. So, for example, you're recording videos for your course. You only get 3 edits. And then you choose one and you move on to the next video. Otherwise, it's never going to get done. You can't just perpetually work on module 1 for 12 months. Like, at some point, you send. And then this is the thing. You launch the course as it is. And then in 6 months' time, once people are in it, and you've made some money from it and you're helping people, then make a different version of it. But you don't get to sit on course 1 forever. You make it and then you hit send. So, for example, I was helping a brother out just recently and helping him put together a new business venture. And we created the course content in 2 days, and the back end took like another week, and the course is done. Yep. I was probably 1 day of strategy and creation. So let's say a week, all up, done. uploaded, sorted, ready to go. Now, I know that some people would take them 2 years. Now,
Yep.
it's not because they couldn't have done it. It's because they are overthinking the quality. And I always love like answering the question, how long did it take for an overnight success to become successful? And the answer is 10 years, right?
Yeah,
So
100%.
they
Yeah.
still put out their first mixtape, which sucked. But their first mixtape got them a gig somewhere. And that's how you have to think about your course.
Yeah.
So what if you look back in 10 years' time and you think this is horrible? What? Who cares? There's someone out there thinks your course is awesome. And yeah, maybe it's not as good as like Sally's course in, because she's been doing it for a long period of time, or maybe it's not as good as a course at our school because we've been around for 18 years. But like, it's enough. Your course is enough. Hit send.
Yeah. When I started, it wasn't all fancy. It was me, my phone leaned up against a roll of toilet paper
There you go.
when I created my first course.
And I bet you it changed someone's life, though. That's the thing. I bet you some people loved that course and were like, damn, that was good stuff.
You know, the funny thing is so back then when I created that first course, it was probably like $27. It was like how to overcome the fear of hitting that button to go live. And then I got my first one-on-one client from that. Now, 5-6 years later, she's just come and joined our program because I changed her life back then, that she just like this week came back. I'm like, oh my God, Rebecca. She was one of my very first clients when I hit the go live button, and now she goes live around her farm all because of that. And then after the course, similar to when you said Seth, writes that blog every day, I went live because I just wanted to kind of see what would happen. And I went live for 365 days straight back in about 2017, every day. Some days I was teaching things that I knew because the best way to learn is to teach it to others. Other days, like I had eye surgery, came home, I was like a pirate and I literally had a bird on my shoulder. And I'm like, I'm live, I'm home, I got nothing. But I went live.
Nice. That's a good example.
Actually, let me share a secret with you, which isn't really a secret. But, I actually didn't go live for 365 days. I missed a day, around about 280 something.
Yeah.
I was out for dinner with friends and I was like, I had this sinking feeling, oh shit, I didn't go live yesterday.
Oh no, you forgot.
I forgot. Now, you would not believe the amount of messages. So I got up, I went out, and I went live in the restaurant was inside a shopping centre that had closed for the night. So I left the restaurant, standing in the shopping centre, went live, and I go, oh my God, I forgot yesterday. But I'm here, I'm going to keep going. I'm still going to get to 365, but I missed a day. And the amount of messages that I got from people that said, oh, well, you've missed a day, it's done. You're finished. You don't have to do it anymore. And I'm like,
interesting.
I missed a day. So what? I'm still claiming I went live for 365 days. It's just I missed a day. But if you take into account, sometimes I went live multiple times a day. So I actually did more than 365 lives.
You know what? It's an interesting story. I was expecting you to say that you got messages of support. But for people to say it's done, you don't have to do it anymore, that's a real insight into their thinking that like if you miss it, that means stop.
Yeah.
Which
I was so surprised.
Isn't a good successful strategy. It's like if you miss it, you pick yourself up, you keep going.
Yes.
Right? You've got a mission that you're on. It's like you can't. One of the things that I always say to people is perfection is the enemy of progress and it's the enemy of joy. So it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Like even if you got to like 250 days, that's still impressive, right? Like the consistency is epic.
Yeah, at the beginning, the family were supportive, and then my husband was like teaching people all about coffee and grinding and, all the different types of grinds and even the smell and all sorts of things. Every Sunday I would introduce him and then he'd teach about coffee. They won him for a couple of months. My daughter would come on camera. By about 4 or 5 months, they would run every time I pick up my phone. Even to this day, years later, when I pick up my phone, they're like, "Oh," and they're like hiding just in case I go live. But they did start reminding me. It became a habit that they would say, "Have you done your live today?" There was one night I woke up at like 2 minutes to midnight and I'm like, "Oh shit, quickly into the kitchen. Everyone's sleeping. Hi, I'm live. It's 2 minutes to midnight. I made it. Everyone's sleeping." So yeah, that's it. I think that don't give up even if something goes wrong, right? Like I'm claiming it and it's imperfect action. And I think everybody, even if you launch your course and the first one doesn't go well, don't throw it in the bin. Or you put that lead magnet out there and nobody downloads it. Don't throw it away. Just change the message. Try something else. Because people keep jumping from shiny ball to shiny ball to shiny ball because they want to feel the excitement of the shiny ball.
Right.
But they don't stick at things,
Yeah, that's another really interesting insight too. Because if you just change, it's people do this in relationships. If a relationship doesn't work, get a new one. And so it's always exciting and easy before you've hit like a real problem. And so it's a way to avoid responsibility. Versus if you stick with the lead magnet and then you drill down on that lead magnet, right? So you're just like, all right, I launched it, it exists, but obviously it's not working. What's not working about it? Let me work that out. That's a very important mindset that you pointed out.
Yeah. So many will just go build another one.
Right.
An example of somebody we worked with once she put a lead magnet out and she was putting a little bit of ad spend behind it. And she was getting about 10 leads a day and she was pretty happy, but I was looking at the numbers and I'm like, not great. We kept changing the hook, changing. One night she went to sleep, woke up, she never swears. She's like, "Holy shit, Sally." And I'm like, "What? What's happened? Is something broken? Is your tech stuffed? What's happening?" She goes, "I've woke up 450 leads." Because we didn't give up. We didn't change the lead magnet. We just kept testing the hook. And she was a fashion consultant. You know what we did? We added the word perfect.
Wow. Because
people in the beauty and the fashion industry are looking for perfection. And her lead magnet was how to dress based on your body shape. Wow. And and we never gave up. I said, "Don't go make another one. Let's just keep going. So we will get it. All right. So I think everyone's got some real gems there. And my key takeaways from what Matt has shared is 1, take action. That's it. You got to do the doing, right, Matt? Like they've got to step up and feel that uncomfortable feeling and do it anyway. Second, if it's hard, set little mini benchmarks, little mini milestones to hit. And I loved how you said 3 edits in a video and you're done. Like just put it out there. Just do that. And, nothing is ever perfect. Everything evolves, not just your course or your coaching program, but you as a human. Your clients evolve with you. Your program evolves as your clients evolve. So know that nothing will ever be perfect, right? Just put it out there messy until it becomes magical, right? Yeah. And then you get to live, make money and have more choice. Money is just energy and allows choice. So Matt, we always end with some sparkle questions, okay? So I hope everybody out there listening, DM myself or Matt with, some key takeaways of what you got from this lesson or this conversation. I think it was very insightful. And what I want to do is my team always say, don't forget the sparkle questions. So what is one common myth that in your profession or that you would like to debunk around coaching?
I think that one of the myths is that coaches are perfect or they have all their stuff together. So I just think that there's 2 categories of people. There's one, people that are not willing to learn anything. And that is very, very sad because they tend to they repeat the same problems over and over again. And the second category is just someone who's open to learning, and they learn how to use new technology. They learn how to communicate better. They are progressive in their nature. And so a coach is just the latter. A coach is someone that is a learner, and they've worked out the benefit of growth in certain areas, and so they want to teach it to other people. But it doesn't mean they don't have problems. They've still got problems, but they're actively working on them and walking the talk. So that would be that's a major myth.
I love that. That's the thing. We all have coaches. I've got coaches. I've got 3 actually. I've got a business coach, a mindset coach, and a therapist. Because I'm always internally working on me and surrounding myself with amazing people as well. Like, your tribe that you surround yourself with. I disconnected myself from the bad people and the bad things from when I was younger. I'm sure you did the same thing, but that we're not perfect. No matter what type of coach you are. Tony Robbins of all coaches, coach of coaches, has his own coaches, right? And because we're all internally working on something. I love, love, love that. All right, my next question is, who are 3 people that have helped to support and inspire you along the way?
So I definitely say Remy Pearson, so the founder of the school. She's taught me so much about coaching, and so much about speaking and communication, which has been absolutely amazing. I would then say I have to have 4. So I would then actually say her husband, who a lot of people don't know, but her husband John is someone who I have a wonderful relationship with, and he has just helped me, mentored me in so many different ways, and helped me grow up a lot, which is, thank God for that. The third one is my wife. My wife is just the most amazing person and teaches me so much about kindness and patience, and how to think about others before you act and things like that. And then the other greatest inspiration is Jesus Christ, just what he's done for us, and the lessons that he's left us through his demonstration of who he was is profoundly important to learn from, I think, especially in today's world.
Yeah. Look, honestly, you've had some great inspiration there. Your wife, I remember when I walked into, and I just joined TCI, and we had spoken on the phone, I think, and she ran over, and she's such a giving, caring person, and she's wrapped her arms around me, and she's like, "Oh, Sally, you've joined." Bianca's she's just a ball of joy and light, really, isn't she? She walks into a room and she shines. She sparkles.
She does. She does.
And my next question for you is, so here's one. If you were the interviewer and you stepped into my shoes, what would be a question that you would have asked yourself that I didn't?
Oh, gee, what a good question. So what would have I asked me?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm stumped on that. What would have you asked me? I've got nothing. I don't know how to answer the question.
That's okay.
I'm sitting in a pool of confusion.
That's okay.
I
love it. You're confused.
I don't know.
You don't know.
With me embracing my imperfection. I've got no idea.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Some people do and some people don't. It's really interesting because sometimes, and I think what shows, what I'm seeing is you've kind of just leaned into this conversation rather than thinking about what you're going to say next or what she's going to ask next.
Well, I think that we covered it really well. I think that we really fleshed it out in a small amount of time.
Exactly. And I think, and my team, right, I can see you, Ma, right now, because she knows I have her notes on my screen for this interview, and she's literally changing the color. I'm seeing you, Ma, of a question I have to ask. So that, you know how the Word documents are interactive?
Right. Yeah,
she's making it flash all these different colors because I forgot the last time we did podcast batching day to actually do this on all of my calls. So You have to complete this sentence. She's saying, thank you, Sally. You're welcome, that's my podcast manager. Complete this sentence. Hi, my name is Matt and I sparkle because
of the relationship that I have with God.
I love that. I love that you've stepped into that. That is beautiful. Thank you so much. Now, Matt, where do people go to learn more about you? If they want to come stalk you on the socials, or where's the best place that people can go and find info about you?
I think the best thing to do is just go to thecoachinginstitute.com.au and check out their courses. Their school's absolutely amazing, and it's a wonderful place to do more education. And then if you just want to follow what I have to say about Christianity, add me on Facebook. Just be aware that it's my private page, and I say whatever I want.
Yes, that's it. It's your space to be you. Yeah.
Space.
And I what I love about the Coaching Institute is all of the free training that you guys put out there every month. So, and you head up a lot of the presentations. It's been a while since I've been to any of the free ones, but you know, used to be front and center teaching all the time on those live streams. And he's very good at what he does and drawing all the diagrams on the whiteboards and stuff like that. I love a good whiteboard session. So, well, thank you, Matt. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's been great to chat and flesh some things out around procrastination. I'd love to do this again with you on another topic one day as well. And thank you for, being part of my journey I went through the Coaching Institute. I learned all of the frameworks. I use them daily, the whole ESIP and all the things. I use them. I use the methods all the time. But it's been a pleasure actually interviewing you versus me just watching you in all the things as well. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you and everything that you've done for me, and where I am now is because of a small part of being part of the Coaching Institute as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Sally. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, guys. Well, there we go. That was Matt. He's amazing. And please make sure you go check him out, follow, and all the things. If you've enjoyed this episode, there is many more episodes you can go back and binge. Just go to Straight Talk with Sally if you want on any of the podcast places. We be there. And the live streams, they live here on YouTube, is the best place to catch up. So subscribe, all the things for podcast batching days. They usually happen on the third Thursday of Friday or Thursday, actually, depends on where you are in the world, but they happen every month. We usually batch a few episodes, so my lovely Ma has things to work with. But the podcast itself also has other things, not just the interviews, but lots and lots of other things. So you'll have to actually go to the podcast because we don't record the podcasts, all of them live. Well, actually, I think we do, but we chop them up. Yeah, we do. We actually do. We record them live, but we chop them up. Anyway, guys, as always, never let anyone dull your sparkle. And that's it. We be done. Say goodbye to Matt. Let's say goodbye. Everyone say bye, Matt. Drop him some sparkles. All right, we're going to head on out. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you on the next live.
I will not bow down. Keep putting me off, I'm not gonna change my mind.